Well, hey everybody, today we're fixing an account. So I'm doing an account takeover for Ash Magisteria, and we are fixing Hell Stage 1, 2, and 3. Let's dive in. Jumping into Ash Magisteria Hell 1, here's what we got going on. We're going to start out with Ash Magisteria Hell 1, and then I'm going to show you Hell 2 and Hell 3. Now, right now, all of the gear has been fixed, and if we put this on auto, you'll notice the turn order on the bottom. William goes first, which is okay. You want to get that defense down on. Sierra does not have to go second. She can go first. She can go before or after Opal. That will be okay. So ideally you want William, then Opal or Sierra. And then you can have Nathalia finish everybody off. Nathalia does need to be in a guard set so she can nuke the whole wave. And that will help. Now, as I mentioned before for speed, as you notice, William does go before Nathalia, which he puts up his counterattack right there. And because of that, that gives her 4 buffs necessary for her trait. If you look at Nathalia's trait, if she has 4 or more buffs, not only does she affect all of the enemies, but she also deals 40% more damage to all of the enemies. So this actually works out really, really nice. Jumping into the boss, William's going to go first again. He's going to do his defense down. Sierra is going to be targeting the boss, Ash Magisteria. Her skills are going to be turned off completely, and that is in the lower right-hand corner. And then Opal, of course, is going to join in the joint attacks with her joint attacks because that is her ultimate. Ideally, you want Opal going either first or second. Right now, we have Sierra going a little bit too fast, but we're unable to slow her down because of gear, and that is what we're here to farm. So this comp works really, really well. This is a speed comp. This is meant to be before the bomb blows up, right? So before the 3 turns are up, before the bomb blows up, this is meant to kill the boss, and this is how it works. And as I mentioned, this works really well without books, without any ascensions except for Nathalia. You do need some type of damage for this speed comp, and this works in Ash Magisteria 1, Ash Magisteria 2, and Ash Magisteria 3, with the only caveat being Nathalia needs to be booked, or at least partially booked, and she does need to go before the boss. And right now, because she's 147 speed, in Ash Magisteria Hell 3, she goes after the boss. So she does need a little bit more speed, and we are farming for 1 more Raider piece with crit rate on it. And all we need is about 6 to 10% crit rate, and we should have it. Alright, so today we're doing an account takeover for a friend of mine, and we are fixing the Ash Magisteria so he can farm some gear. Now, right now, I've done some work off camera, and as you can see, we have absolutely no jelly. Can't really upgrade. We have Nathalia at 67 out of 70. The good news is we have all the heroes we need. We have Opal, we have Nathalia, we have Sierra, we have Jonathan, and then, of course, we have William. He's somewhere in here, right behind my camera. The camera is literally right in front of William, and I'm looking at it directly, so it does get in the way a little bit. So the good news is we do have all of the heroes. The bad news is we don't have a whole lot of jelly here, and that is going to be a problem. If we go ahead and look at Nathalia, you can see she actually takes a lot more jelly than Opal. That is very interesting. And we're trying to get her to 70, and she's currently at 67, and we don't have enough jelly. Opal, however, is at 68, and we have more than enough. That is kind of interesting considering she's a Lego. If we go back and we look at Ash Magisteria, I believe he cleared stage 12, and I did a little bit of work off camera to get him through Hell 1, 2, and we didn't quite complete 3, and I want to talk a little bit more about this. Now, what I did was I fixed his team. Hell 1, this is a very similar setup to the speed farming Ash Magisteria Hell 3. However, the speeds are a little bit different. So when I jumped into this account, the good news is some of the gear was already all set. As you can see, we have Opal in a curse set. We have her in a rage set to help us hit 100% crit rate, which is really nice. 102 crit rate, 206 crit damage, and 180 speed. That is very good because Opal does need to go first. Now, looking at some of the other heroes, or I should say she needs to be very close to being first. For this comp, Sierra can go first, or Opal can go first as well. That really doesn't matter because we're turning off Sierra's skills, and we're only using her basic for the increased damage taken. Now, Sierra, I had to do a little bit of work. I tried to put her in a curse set, and as you can see, not everything is leveled up. She's in a curse set for extra damage because Ash Magisteria 3 has a lot of health, and she is in a warrior set. Now, if we look at her stats, one of the problems that we're having now is she was very, very slow. She was at 160 speed, and I definitely fixed that. I made her a little bit faster. However, right now she's a little bit too fast. Nathalia is a little bit too slow. So that is kind of unfortunate. Nathalia is at 147 speed. All right, so jumping back onto Opal, back in here. Looking at Opal's stats, Opal is all set. That is a hero that I don't want to touch. She has plenty of speed. She has sufficient crit damage. Not a lot, but it's enough, especially unbooked, on Ascended. It's enough. Once we throw a couple of books on her, with any luck, we'll get some more attack and we'll get some more crit damage. That's going to be very, very nice. So I didn't want to touch Opal. Opal is at 180 speed. The next one we're looking at is Nathalia. Now, Nathalia right now is at 147 speed, which works fine for Ash Magisteria 12, 13, and 14. However, in 15, she is too slow. All right, so when I got in here, her stats looked something like this. She was in 2 pieces of rage set to hit 100% crit rate. Her crit damage was about the same, and she was at 138 or somewhere around there. So we got her up a few speed, right? She's at 147. And what I did was I ended up putting her in a guard set. I leveled a guard set necklace, and I leveled a guard set weapon. Let me show you what those look like. Now, the good news is this cursed ring was fantastic. This was rolled before I got to the account, and this is actually fantastic. By the way, how do you guys like my jingle hat? So this rolled fantastic. Double speed roll, triple crit rate, which is absolutely amazing. And right now, we do not have a better ring to replace it. When I got in, I ended up rolling this. Double crit rate, 1 crit damage, 2 resistance. Everything rolled really, really well. And if you notice, this is a legendary guard necklace, which is absolutely amazing. And then I actually rolled this guard sword as well. I'm surprised that he had this, considering he hasn't been farming the guard set. So this must have came either from the banker, which is the clan boss, or from the bartender, as I suggested. A lot of times the bartender sells good pieces, and this rolled pretty good as well. And we were able to get Nathalia in a guard set. The other piece that I replaced was this Raider coat. I grabbed this Raider coat off of a hero he was not using, and this was actually, I believe, off of Mary, that was speed tuned to run Ash Magisteria 12. So I borrowed this, and we actually need 1 more Raider piece to be able to get her required stats, to be able to get her speed up another 15, and that would fix the comp. However, I cannot get enough crit rate. If I put any pieces of speed gear right now of the Raider set, we lose crit rate to about 92, 95, something along those lines. And right now, I was just not able to do that. Now, if we go ahead and throw on this necklace, the stats work. However, she loses her guard set, and there's nothing that I have been able to do to be able to hit the required stats, right? So every time I try a piece of gear, we don't have enough crit rate. And if we try to replace the helmet, same thing as well. Crit rate goes down way too much. So right now, it is what it is. So now that we know we are a little bit too slow for the speeds for Ash Magisteria Hell 3, how do we fix this, right? We can go back and I can show you the runs of Ash Magisteria Hell 1 and Hell 2. But how do we fix Hell 3 if you are finding yourself in Ash Magisteria, and it doesn't have to be Hell 3. It can be Hell 1, Hell 2, or any of the other dungeons, right? Any of the other difficulties. If you are finding your hero being too slow going after the boss, how do we fix this? Well, the first thing is, like I mentioned, we need 1 more Raider piece. As you notice, she has 1 Raider piece already. So we need to either get a Raider piece with 10 or more crit rate, maybe 10% crit rate for a helmet, or a Raider boots with like 10% crit rate. I believe we're overcapped right now, so we can actually drop 6. So we need 6% crit rate on a Raider piece of gear. That would give us another 15 speed, and that would fix the comp. The other thing we can also do is actually throw some books. If we look at the mastery, she has 2 books. Now, the other way that we can actually fix this is if we throw another book in here, and it lands on 8% crit rate, or if we get double crit rate here, that's going to be nice. So if we get 1 or 2 books in the abilities, we can gain an extra 23% crit rate, which means we can hit our necessary speed and put her in a guard set plus a raider set, which will give her the speed. So for right now, we might have to farm Ash Magisteria Hell1 or Hell2. All right, moving on to Sierra. Now, Sierra is a little bit fast right now. When I got here, I changed some of this gear around because she was actually going last. You want Sierra going first because, as I've mentioned, because of her basic ability, which allows the enemy to take 30% more damage. So I rearranged some of this gear. I was able to put her in a curse set, so she has a 35% chance to launch a bonus attack to do a little bit more damage. And I also put her in speed boots, and that allows her to go first. She does not need to be this fast. She just needs to go either first or second, definitely before Nathalia for sure. And moving into William, I rearranged a little bit of William's gear. Now right now, he is in a Raptor set and not much else. He's also in speed boots as well. I've been experimenting with his speed, and he's actually doing pretty good. He does not need to be this fast. He can be okay about 170, 180. That'll do just fine. All right, so let's jump into Hell Stage 3. Here's what we're dealing with. This was the previous comp. Nathalia did not have a guard set. Opal went completely last, and then Sierra. So the comp was a little bit off where Evelyn First Dawn went first. Then Nathalia went with no guard set. Then we had Sierra, and then we had Opal. So the turn order was completely wrong, and since then, we have fixed the comp and we fixed the turn order. So now this is the new comp, and it works just fine. For spells, we're going to be using Gaia's Renewal for the heals and Sundering Purgatory for the defense down. All right, starting off on manual, Hell Stage 3, William goes first. Typically, what he will do is he will use the defense down, and then he'll use his ultimate, which gives us defense down, which is a little bit redundant. However, he does not always land the defense down. His ultimate has 80% chance to land defense down. Sometimes we miss it, and you'll see that later on. Now, ideally here, if we look right on the bottom, ideally you want Opal going next because of her ultimate ability with the joint attack. And then when Sierra goes after Opal, Opal will actually take another turn. So ideally, you want Opal going. However, I am not able to slow Sierra down enough and still keep her fast enough. Right now, if I put her in attack percentage boots, she goes down to 147 speed, which is a little too slow. And if I use her in half-leveled speed boots, she's at about 190. So she's actually either too slow or too fast. So we need to farm for a little bit of gear. So the first thing we can do to improve is right here. Opal needs to go a little bit faster, or Sierra needs to go a little bit slower before the boss. And Opal's going to use her ultimate, which will give her joint attack. And then, of course, when Sierra goes, Opal will take one more turn. And then Sierra will proc her ultimate like she did now. Now, Nathalia is fine here because the waves are slow enough that Nathalia is okay at 147 speed. And this works out just fine. William's going to put up his buff, which will give Nathalia more than 4 buffs, actually. So she can do more damage and affect all of the enemies. Sierra is going to take her turn again, and we're going to continue just like that. Hopefully he'll die here. Nathalia keeps her buffs, and we're going to rinse and repeat. So we do have a little bit of improvement that we can do to maximize the damage, and that is slowing down Sierra a little bit more. And where this comp falls apart here is because this is Hell Stage 3, which is Ash Magisteria 15. Nathalia is a little too slow at 147 speed, and that is something we need to improve on. We do need to get her into another Raider set with some crit rate, and right now I'm just unable to do that. So here we go again. The turn order is slightly off, which can be improved over time as we farm the gear. William goes in with the defense down. Sierra is, of course, going to do her increased damage. And if you notice, because William only has 80% chance to land defense down, it didn't land on Ash Magisteria, which means he takes less damage. Now, right here is where it all falls apart, and I've talked about this a couple of times. Sierra is going to do her ultimate, which is nice. And if Nathalia went before the boss, Sierra would do more damage, which means most of the imps would die, which means Sierra would proc her passive that would proc her passive and kill all the imps. But because the turn order is wrong and Nathalia is a little bit slow, everything falls apart. So now that we know what's working, what's not working, and how we can improve it, now we can go back to farming Hell Stage 1 and Hell Stage 2. And all we really need is one more piece of Raider gear with 6% crit rate. So there we go. We are on Hell Stage 3, and we've made some really good progress from Stage 12 into Stage 13, which is Hell Stage 1. We've cleared that. We've cleared Hell Stage 2. And we would have cleared Hell Stage 3 if we could get a little bit more speed. I hope this video was helpful. If you are curious, if you have any questions, leave them down below. Also, hit the like and the subscribe button. And for more helpful videos like this, check out the top right.